Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show, the show's all about a little well-known card game called Magic: The Gathering. So on today's episode, we brought on none other than Joseph Johnson, aka Blackneto, to the show, and we discussed, like every episode, we discussed everything. We discussed everything from his start into acting, into I Hate Your Deck, a lot of Magic talk, and as well as just everything else in between. So I hope you all are really excited about this episode. I know I have. This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to get this done for a few months now, and just schedules haven't been lining up at all. But before we begin, let's get a few little announcements out of the way. If you want to help support this show, you can help support this show on Patreon at patreon.com/magicwithzuby. And we are also sponsored by cardsphere.com, the place to buy, sell, and trade your Magic singles and sealed product as well, too. Yes, I bet you didn't know that one. You can also find me on Twitter at Magic with Zuby, on Instagram at Magic_with_Zuby, and on TikTok at mtgzuby. And you can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. The show is also available in podcast form on every single podcast platform you can find out there. And yeah, I think that about does it. So without further ado, let us welcome Joseph Johnson, aka Blackneto, to the show. We're live. Hey, it's Zuby here with none other than Joseph Johnson, aka Blackneto from I Hate Your Deck. Before we even begin, I was just looking at your IMDb, and I have to say, I had no idea you were in the fucking Orrville. Out of like all your credits, I saw like, oh shit, you were a Mocklin in the Orrville. It's like, I fucking love that show.
In Orrville, there was a very intensive makeup process.
Oh, I bet.
Had a great time though. It was really cool. I actually got to work with Seth MacFarlane on that day. He wasn't directing the episode, but he was actually there. One of the greatest directing moments of all time, because he actually he gave me a note and he was like, "Hey, I looked at your file. You did some Shakespeare," and he was like, "Yeah, just do it like Shakespeare." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And I did the take, and he was like, "Fucking perfect. Move on." And like we moved on from the whole scene. I was like,
"You just did the one take in that scene?"
Yeah, it was like the one. Well, it ended up being two takes. Like I did a take the director wanted me to, and then Seth came in and he was like, "Yo, let's do this take." And he gave me that note, and I did it, and he was like, "Fucking awesome. Like, let's move on." And the director was like, "I guess we're moving on." And that was that. So he came through. It was dope.
Dude, that's awesome. How long did that makeup take?
I showed up on set at, I want to say 5 a.m. and my call time to get to set was 8:30. And I think I just made it by 15 minutes. So it took about 3 hours to get me into all the makeup. But talking to the makeup artist was a blast. They had so many stories. It's just, that's one of my favorite things to do, is just share stories. Like when I'm on set with people, it's like all their experiences and what they've gone through and who they've interacted with. And, you know, you got to get a little bit of the tea sometimes. I don't ask for it, but it ends up coming out. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I obviously will never repeat any of that. But it's just fun to like be like, oh, okay, interesting. Like I never knew that about so and such and such. But yeah, that's the tea.
So they got the lowdown on some other actors and actresses and all that.
Yeah. It always ends up coming out like somehow. But the experiences on set and this, that, what have you, is always a blast to share. So that was the one thing I definitely got from that.
All right. I gotta ask you, like, so it took you 3 hours to get that makeup on. Oh god, who's the actor who actually plays the Mocklin? It's been a while since I watched the show. Like, I can't even imagine having to do that every day.
They actually had like a prosthetic for him, so he just
comes in.
They do a little touch ups here and there, and they kind of put him in the suit. So my call time, I was there for about 2.5 hours before he showed up, and they kind of just had it all ready together.
Oh shit! Well, that makes it easy. Shit.
Yeah, super easy. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like obviously I was kind of a day player, so they were like, all right, cool. We're gonna do the whole thing for you.
No, that's awesome. So why acting? What got you into it and all that?
It's funny. So I kind of grew up as like a class clown. Like I was always in class, and I was always like, running my mouth and having little comments here and there. And straight A's like all the way through high school and most of college. But yeah, I just always had a knack for kind of wanting to be the entertainer of the room. Like I was like, all right, my homework's done. What let me see who I can, get going on these jokes. So that kind of was where it started. And then it kind of went into I really want to be a positive role model for
Hmm.
for my community. And that's when I really got serious about it. And that was my senior year in college. Or no, senior year in high school. Sorry, senior year in high school. I decided like, okay, I actually really want to do this. And so my mom had been in. I had no idea about this. Like she kind of just told me about this after. So when I told her, she was like, okay, cool. Let me show you. She showed me like all these tapes of like she was had her own talk show
Oh, your
and
mom did?
yeah, and she like
Oh
directed
shit.
theater and like yeah, I was like, oh shit, like what the fuck? And she was like, yeah, she like showed me all these tapes. She was like, I didn't want to push it on you, but you fell into it anyway.
Oh
So
shit.
it's just
Was she all local or was it?
mostly yeah, it was all local, like Flint, Michigan stuff. Like
Yeah.
she went to UM, and went to for her undergrad, and she was in broadcast, and she's also a poet. She's also a writer.
Nice. That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so she just got two poems published.
Oh
Forget what the
shit.
publication was.
Nice.
She's one of those ladies that like she's always inspiring me. That's like literally like every EDH deck I try to base around the inspiration from my mom because I want all of my generals are all women because I am inspired by my mom so much. This
Oh,
her
that's
drive
awesome, man.
to yeah, her drive to just
Dude.
like kick ass and take names has just been like wow. I would never like I want to be like that one day. It's I'm always like man, like oh man, how can I get like that one day?
Dude,
um
that's awesome. That's weird because you saying that like how your mom was into entertainment and like talk show and stuff like that and writer and how you're sort of following the same path. It kind of reminds me how I tried so hard to stay out of healthcare, because like I have both sides of my family. My mom and dad have been in healthcare for it just through the ages and all that stuff. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I'm in healthcare now too, and it's like shit. You can't get away with from it
you,
sometimes.
yeah, I think my girl was just telling me the other day it was this song that she was listening to. I forget what's the artist you were telling me? She's gone.
Yeah, she walked
Anyway,
away.
it was she was either like the artist was like either you fuck your parents or you become them. So it's like whoa, that's kind of trippy, but I guess we either become them or we end up being with someone who's kind of just like them. So yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, you're over here in LA now. Freaking I Hate Your Deck came out this year. Like, dude, it's blown the hell up, man.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
what do you attribute that to?
Honestly, I'm still shocked. I'm still very, very humbled by the whole entire community embracing us and everyone just kind of, you know, like I said, every day is just a new thing. Like I'm so like elated that everyone is just been so embracing to us. And we were just trying to do LGS vibes. We were just like,
Oh yeah,
we want to
you
make a
guys capture
show
that perfectly too.
about the banter and the shit talk and what goes on when you sit down at a pod with your homies, the people that you really like, that you play Magic with all the time, not just some random people that you don't know or don't like even, or it's just chilling playing Magic with the homies, and that's our vibe. That's all we try to encapsulate.
And
And
so,
I'm yeah.
what was like the birth child of that? Was it wanting to try to capture that LGS feel? And who came up with the idea? Was it you or Michael or someone else? Or
So Michael originally came up with the idea, and we were doing a lot of quarantine Magic, and it was like janky, not even the good webcam. It was like janky, like, hey, I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna like on Google Spelltech or Google Hangouts, and like
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
show you my cards that I'm playing, and I'm being honest with you, and I could like show you like my board state, but it's kind of janky.
yep.
So we played. 50 days in a row of Magic. We were just on it every single day because we had nothing else to do.
Oh
So we
yeah.
would get up and we play Magic, and we have a couple brews, and we just hang out. We're like, hey man, we got nothing else going on. Like, let's play some Magic. So on day 50, Mike made a compilation because he's a filmmaker, first and foremost, and an editor, and a loving husband and a father and all the things. Shout out to all the fathers on Father's Day. I don't know when this is probably gonna drop, but I don't know if you're a father as well, but
Yep.
like he's just happy Father's Day.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
let's go.
I got two daughters.
Nice. I mean, I can only imagine being a dad and having daughters. Like, I know my mentality. If I had a daughter, I would be like, all right, y'all never gonna date.
Well, you know what? It's funny you bring that up. So it's Pride Month too, and both my daughters identify as lesbians, and so it's there's not that whole feeling because my oldest is going to be 18 next month, right? And
Yeah.
and she's still trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life and all that, just like all kids that age, and
Yeah.
but it's also like my wife got pregnant when she was 17, and so we're just like thankful, like, well, at least she's not pregnant, and and we don't have to exactly worry about her getting pregnant the normal way,
Yeah.
so
I think as a father, you just want to protect your child's heart.
oh
Like,
yeah,
no
hell
matter
yeah.
who they date, you're just like,
Oh,
you're there for,
When-
I think that was like really what I meant. Like, it was just like, I would just like be like, man, if you break my daughter's heart, I'm gonna come over to that house,
Oh,
and it's gonna be the
oh,
Will
yeah.
Smith. It's gonna be the Will Smith and Martin Lawrence scene. And
Yes,
that
fuck
one, dude,
yeah. Oh, I told my daughter, like, I don't care if you're gay, all right? If your girlfriend
Exactly.
breaks your fucking heart, she's done.
Yeah. We're gonna be knocking at some doors, and we're gonna have to be like, yo, what's going on? You done messed up.
Yeah. Oh, I told both my kids that, like, I don't give a fuck who you date. Man,
Exactly.
woman, non-binary, I don't give a shit. They're
Yeah,
gonna break
it
your
don't
heart.
matter. It better not break your heart. I'll be over there. It's gonna be razor blades and lemon juice. But yeah, going back to the initial, yeah. So Lynch came at me with this idea, and he was like, "Dude, we played 50 games of Magic in a row. We were kind of yelling, like, he would have me introduce the little sketch that we did, and he did like a little documentary on it, and
that's
he showed
cool.
it to some like friends and some filmmaker friends that he knew, and he kind of sent that to them, and they were like, yo, you guys need to make a show. This is hilarious. This is, you guys got the charisma, you guys got the spirit, you guys are all friends. You guys should just fucking make a show." And so he approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to do it? If we hit up our LGS." And shout out to Turn Zero Games for making that happen during the pandemic. When nobody's in there, and they gave us a space to film. We went through all the film protocols because fortunately we've both been working. We made sure everybody got tested. We made sure that we were tested. We made sure that everybody was wearing a mask. I've been working in the industry, thankfully, since last summer. And the
That's good.
protocols were very, very strict. I've probably been tested, I want to say, at least 100 plus times.
Damn.
Just like they don't play. They're like, oh, you gotta go on set and do this. Cool, no swap. Oh, you gotta get a costume fitting, no swap. But before you get on set, for the nose fitting, another no swap. So it'd be like 4 times. And like I said, I'm very thankful that I got to experience what that was, so that when we had our deck, when we made our show, we were very, very strict, as strict as the regulations were. We didn't mess around. So we made sure that everybody felt safe to be on set, that no one had COVID, and we promised that everybody was going to be cool about it. So we made our first few episodes there, and we kind of like figured out like, oh, well, we could maybe go on like a tour and like do an LGS tour and go around to different LGSs. So we're currently at Cash Cards Unlimited.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our home though right now. Like we're with Casper Marsh, and his store is awesome, and we love shooting there, and it's been the best experience. Like I feel like it's the best fit for us and our brand, and I think we're gonna park there for now as far as LA goes. But we definitely want to like do like a tour, when there's when there's more Magic Fest going on, we would love to
Oh
like
yeah.
tour and do Magic Fest and stop at like local LGSs, get a crew together, and just hang out and film a couple episodes, because it'd be
Dude,
good
that'd be
times.
awesome. Yeah, no, that'd be a lot of fun. It's I still find it so weird just hearing about all the lockdown stuff because I mean I live in Florida, so it's you probably know it's
Oh yeah,
that
oh
the
yeah,
asshole capital of the U.S. It's been dude, the pandemic's basically been over since last summer and all that, and
yeah, exactly.
it's so it's I hear like all these lockdowns and all this stuff. I'm like, shit, we were probably quote unquote locked down for about a month, maybe, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
people were like,
exactly.
fuck it.
Yep,
Just,
yep. That's Florida man.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Florida man does this. Florida man does that. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, we
it's
get it.
no. So
Yeah,
and isn't California like fully open again now?
yep, yep.
Wasn't it
We
just this week?
actually, it was just this week. We opened up on the 15th. So 4 days ago, we were completely open for people who are vaccinated. Um, we still, I mean, I still carry my mask wherever I go. Like
Yeah,
I just have, it's ingrained in our culture now. So, and I also don't want to be disrespectful, to other people who have ailments or, because it was never, I feel like, just touching on this, I won't belabor the fact, but like, it was never about us. It was about other people. It was like, how do we take care of our fellow people?
yeah.
How do we take care of everyone else? And like, I feel like my duty as a fellow person to my fellow human beings is to like just put it on. Just put it on. Even if it makes someone feel a little bit more comfortable being around. Cool. I'd rather have that happen than someone being like, oh, let me walk across the street or let me, dodge this person because they're probably just doing whatever. Like I said, I don't want to belabor on it, but yeah, that's
Well, no, you bring up a good point too because I mean, this was a time that I told my wife like we've lived through too many world changing events, right? It's we had to deal with 9/11, then two crazy wars, and fucking Trump and
Jesus
coronavirus
Christ.
January 6th and all that.
Right.
It's like can we just calm it down on the world changing stuff? But
Right.
going back on the pandemic and all that stuff, it's like we had no idea like how bad this disease was going to be. Even if the survival rate is high on it, dude. The fact that COVID affects so many people differently is
Yeah.
is what's scary. Like I caught it earlier this year, and I felt completely fine. Like I just had no smell, no taste for like a week or week and a half, something like that. One of my friends caught it too, and he's really healthy and all that stuff. He's in his mid 40s, really healthy guy and all that stuff. Doesn't smoke, barely drinks, and he almost died from it. Like just and had no underlying conditions and just like it's fucking crazy. It's
Just never know, man. Just
and
got to look out for everybody
no,
because
and it's the
like I
selfishness.
said,
It's
it really fucking is. Like at the bottom line, it's like have some fucking empathy. Like people, like come on, like how are you not? And I feel like also too, like I just feel like with people growing up nowadays, is like y'all never really like either it's a parental thing or it's just a societal thing. But I think it's like I mean, yeah, we could blame the internet, but like it's all about having empathy for everyone else
yeah,
and like having the compassion to listen and I think a lot of that is going on too with like you know just I mean I got this shirt on like Black Lives Matter like
hmm
like how is that a controversial topic? I'm saying my life matters. People are out getting killed in the streets by cops and like y'all are arguing well there's no well or but it's like yes I agree that's the end of the conversation.
God,
It's like
fucking shit. I know, especially like, dude, especially last year with the whole George Floyd thing. It's oh, God, fuck, man.
there's so many hashtags. There's so many hashtags. There's so many names that we have lost people Emmett and it's like the list goes on, and we could keep going, but like it's really just about having empathy for your
yeah,
fellow human beings. At the end of the day, just be fucking cool. Like Sam Jackson said in Pulp Fiction, be cool, honey bunny. That's all you gotta do. Um, and I think that's honestly, I feel like that's really the key. Like what me and Lynch are trying to like bring to the magic world. We're trying to make sure that people see that, you know, it's cool to lose. It's like he was big in sports. I play a lot of martial art. I've had a lot of martial arts, involvement.
Oh shit, really?
It's okay to, jujitsu, judo.
Nice, nice.
I have weapons training, katana,
We're gonna have to
nunchuck.
talk about that right after the magic talk, because dude, I've had so many years of taekwondo, a few years of kendo and judo, and I even went to
Oh hell yeah!
South Korea to participate in a tournament. Got my fucking ass
Nice.
whooped. But
But the thing is, you had a great time though,
oh
right?
my god, yeah, that's an experience I'll never forget.
So I'm saying, like, but that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people miss that key part. Is like, how are you having fun doing this? Like, are
Yeah.
you having fun enjoying yourself? Like, da da da, like playing Magic, like, and that's the whole thing. I feel like that we encompass that feeling, and like, yo, I don't care if I'm winning or losing. I'm having fun with my friends. So
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, that's just what it's about.
No, I gotta say, as someone, it's I've done this podcast for over 5 years now, and it being involved in Magic content, especially, I don't watch a lot of Magic content anymore, because it's either I'm working on booking guests and I'm doing other stuff, life and stuff. Before Magic content, I consumed so much content and all that stuff, but it's not here there. But I will say, and I'm not just saying that, like, I genuinely do enjoy your guys' videos. You guys are one of the few YouTube channels I do watch, like, whenever a new video comes out, because, like I said, and I told this to Mike too, like, you guys encompass exactly the type of play that me and my buddies would have in the LGS. Just like you guys encompass type of play. Efren of Card Sphere and Pixie Kitten. We play some games off stream and all that stuff, and it's the same shit talking even on Spell Table. We'll have more fun just shit talking, like, and we'll barely be paying attention to the game, and then
Like, wait, what? Who played what?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't notice that. Like, yeah, it happened like 3 turns ago. It's been out. It's been out. Y'all didn't pay attention. Like,
you gotta watch out for fucking Efren though. Jesus.
oh yeah.
Oh
Is he
yeah.
Sneaky.
Oh,
He's
he's
sneaky like that.
it's fucking sneaky, man, and he's one of those, he'll try to give you deals and all that stuff. Like, oh, trust me on this.
Oh shit, he's playing Monopoly on y'all.
He can be so convincing too. That's the thing.
See, yeah, I have a couple of decks like that. I call my Carter deck the Shang Tsung deck, because I'm like, I just gonna make everybody fight, and everybody's like, it has begun.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I literally just finished building a Shadrix deck, and
Oh, nice.
it's pillow fort, but it's also just purely political, where I play basically Kingmaker, where I make an alliance with just one person and all that stuff, and just, right, don't attack me, go attack everybody else, just leave me alone. And I don't really win, but it's still a lot of fun though.
It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
I was actually playing a game the other day where I was like, all right, well, you can't hit me, but if you hit everyone else, you get a treat. You get a cookie.
Yeah.
So they would keep swinging at everybody else, and then at the end, the guy had, I think he was playing Ishai Jessica, and he had a Ishai that's like 22-22, so it was like one shot rocket, and he was like, all right, cool, I can finally swing at you, and I'm like, you can. And I played Grab the Reins, and he was at like 19, and I was like, cool, grab the reins, and I'll just blow you up. And he was like, damn it.
Damn. Yeah, those are some of the best stories there. And it's like, man, it's, God, I can't wait to, like, when Magic Fest start coming up again, and just being able to play in person, because I've got an LGS here, but they're not the greatest, and it's like full of too many tryhards, especially even in EDH, like too many I'm like, it's fucking EDH, right? It doesn't matter who wins.
Let's have a drink and let's have some fun, dude. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah, that sucks, man. Well, hey, come to LA. We got you.
Oh God, dude, I fucking wish it's, you know what? Yeah, I probably could. I'm vaccinated, right?
Just saying.
And plus,
we got a couple.
I work remotely, so I can pretty much work anywhere.
Yeah. Just pick up a move, man. It's
oh,
cool
move,
here,
move.
Man.
Hell no. It's too expensive. No, come over there to visit, yeah, but to move,
Okay,
hell no.
all right, fair enough.
But
Fair enough,
I
fair
will
enough.
say it's like, because being in content creation, all that stuff, I see like the West Coast gets all the cool people over there, and I'm just all like, what does Florida have? It has like nobody.
Hey, you there? You there? You
Yeah,
holding it down.
trying
Yeah,
trying
man.
to, but no, but there's no like filming scene and all that stuff, like how you guys got out there. So, yeah, it is what it is. But dude,
I feel you.
martial arts. I want to know more about your martial arts background.
Oh, so my dad is he's been training. He's up there. But he's been training for 50 plus years.
Oh,
Roman Greco.
damn.
He's
He's still doing it?
oh, I mean, he's retired now, but like he up until like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, he was still like in the scene. Like he was a coach. He's like all state. Like he went to Eastern Michigan. I mean, yeah, he was a beast. He was basically
Nice.
doing mixed martial arts before that
Before it
was a
was a
thing.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, he would he taught me traditional jujitsu, judo. He taught me um, eskrima. Uh, yeah, I learned a few things on my own. Like I learned, I'm not very good at bow staff. A buddy of mine's like helping me out with that. He got me hooked up with the samurai who actually legit like kind of took me in for like a year and a half and like trained and did some like sword work.
Like
Um,
what kind of sort was it? Bushido or was it like
Bushido,
kendo
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah, like more traditional, like Bushido, more traditional samurai. Very much like go through your opponent. There is no parry. It's only through. So every strike you do is an attempt to kill.
Dude, that's
And if
fucking
they
awesome.
it's like the mentality was just like, oh shit, like I did not know it was that intense, um which kind of like led me into other things. And like the first thing I was very competitive in, as far as like a sport, or I guess I can call it a sport now, it wasn't a sport then, with playing video games, was Marvel vs. Capcom. And so that was
Hmm.
very much like my intent. Like I went at it like a very disciplined martial artist. And I was like, cool, who's the best? Who's this? Okay, cool. This is how I'm playing this game. There's no other way. And when I got into Magic, that's how I played. And um, I was very taken aback when people were like, okay, cool. We're gonna do our thing now. Like, let you just win. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's not how you play this game. And they're like, yeah, we're just having fun, dude. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So like, it took me a couple of months to figure out like, let me dial all my decks back to like, hey, you're just having fun playing with homies. This is what it is. Because I
I,
started
I
playing
I know
like
exactly
around,
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, around the time the original Ravnica came out. That's when I first started playing. And then when I got into EDH, it was like around like 2013. I went to an LGS, met a bunch of friends, met some cool people, and yeah, it was like gangbusters from there. So, but yeah, that like martial arts was. I mean, I still do practice a little bit. I have a couple friends who are stuntmen out here, and we roll a little bit here and there. So I keep up, like, I'm not a part of I don't have a seafood right now. I want to get into kung fu. That was
Oh
really
damn.
cool. Like
Yeah.
my buddy is like really, really, really dope kung fu artist. He won't, he is the most humble dude ever, but he will like his energy is just like he will break someone in half. And like I'm like, oh, hope no one ever crosses this.
No,
He's
I know
like the
exactly what you're talking
nicest
about. Yeah.
the nicest dude in the world, and like the most Peter Parker sense. And like if you back him in a corner like on some real shit, he will just like break you. I'm like, okay, fuck
Oh
that.
man. Yeah, dude. I miss training in martial arts. I did taekwondo from like the age of 13 until about 27, 28, something like that.
Nice,
And
nice, nice.
I taught and coached for a long time, and um it was, I helped my friend run his school when he got his own school, and just helped out teaching. And dude, I miss it a lot. But the freaking because I eventually had a goal of wanting to open up my own taekwondo school, but just with, and I'm kind of glad my friend opened up one first, because then I got to see how it really is, and you're just like, oh fuck, man, it sucks out so much of the fun of wanting of like martial arts, because then you're having to deal with not just competition in other schools, but just like how fucking sleazy so many martial arts schools are, and just the sleaziness of so many other just people. And I don't know, and maybe it's a Florida thing, I don't know, but it's just sucks.
I think it's a people thing.
Yeah, could be a people thing. Yeah,
in general. Just hit the reset button.
God, but
yeah, that sucks, man.
But it's good. It's I was able to go to Korea, and the thing, I went to Korea back in 2005, and before like esports was even a thing. Like, I still remember going there, walking in the streets of Seoul, and just my mind being blown of seeing gigantic posters of StarCraft and Warcraft on the sides of buildings. And I'm just and back then that's pretty much one of the games I played all the time, was just StarCraft 1. Like, I was obsessed. And they had TV channels dedicated to StarCraft, like all the day. And I'm like, and this is way before Twitch was even a thought. Like, esports didn't even exist here in the US. And it blew my mind.
They were ahead of the game.
Oh, hell yeah.
They were ahead of the curve.
Dude, it blew my mind. And so then coming back, to the US, I tried to devour as much pro StarCraft as I could. But back then it was, you could barely find anything.
It was like non-existent. Now it's like oversaturated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think the year I learned how to play Magic, I also got into World of Warcraft. I had a lot of time on my hands that summer. It just kind of like those months just kind of consumed into themselves, because I was like, ooh, Magic content during the day. Oh, I'll go on a raid. I'll make this mage and level up all the way to 70.
You still playing WoW, or?
I'm not playing WoW currently. I kind of want to get back into it. My girlfriend would kill me. So I'm just making content now.
you never truly quit it. Dude, I've been playing since the very beginning, and I'm still playing it off and on, but it's nowhere near to the level of like how it was back in the day.
Yes, I remember Burning Crusade. That was so fun. Burning Crusade was when I started.
Yeah.
I got started right when Burning Crusade came into play. Had my Blood Elf Mage, same Blood Elf Mage throughout all the expansions. Wrath of the Lich King was my favorite expansion so far. Played a little Cataclysm, played Mists of Pandaria, played I played everything except for the last expansion that came out with the it was kind of like a Horde versus Alliance kind of thing.
Oh, the Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah, I didn't play Battle of Azeroth because I heard it was just kind of eh. But I hear this new expansion is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's not the great. It's better than the previous one, but what can you do? But
more WoW content.
yeah, man. It's like I said, I don't play nearly as much as I used to. It's just more of I still enjoy the story of it. It's
Yeah, the story aspect is what got me in. It's also what drew me into Magic. Really loved the lore. Actually, it's funny too, because like when I first got into Magic, there was a guy I was working at like randomly at like a GameStop at the time, and I was talking to my manager about it, and this guy overheard me, and he was like, "Hey, I overheard you talking about Magic the Gathering." And I was like, "Oh yeah. Just learned how to play." My buddy introduced me to it. He was like, "Well, I just got rid of a bunch of my cards, and I'm looking to like just kind of give them away. I was going to just kind of throw them away, but like if you want my cards, you can have them." I was like, "Sure, whatever." So he gave me 4 5K boxes of cards, and I'm talking there were like fetch lands in them. There was like Karakas, and they're like, he was like, "I got rid of the stuff that I wanted to." I'm like, "Dude, this dude had to have Power 9," because I let my buddy like look over it, and he was like,
he just gave it to you?
These cards. He just gave them to me. I was like, what? And so the guy that taught me how to play, I was like, well, we got to split these boxes. I'll take two, you take two, and we'll just go over them. Like he was like, well, you don't have to do it. I'm like, dude, you taught me how to play. Like, of course, like I would not be in this position if you
Yeah.
didn't teach me how to play this game. So like, please take half of this, like at least. He's like, okay, fine. So we just spent a whole day just kind of like trading back and forth. Like, hey, do you want this? Are you gonna build this? Do you like this? Are you gonna build this? Okay, cool. Like, and it was just it was a time.
Dude, that's freaking
It's
awesome.
And I'm still playing. So if he's listening somewhere, hey, I'm still playing.
Dude, you know, talking about games you just can't seem to quit. It's like Magic is one of those for me. I started back when I was a kid with Urza Saga. And I love telling this story. People on my podcast know this, but back when I played, when I first started playing when I was like 9 or 10 or whatever, we didn't have an LGS or anything like that. It was when sports cards were huge back in the 90s. It was a sports card shop, and they had a little display of just Magic, and and
Okay.
and I must have begged my mom to buy me some booster packs or something. And I still remember. So my friends and I got into Magic, and the thing that we would trade the most, because all you could find were booster packs in my town, were basic lands. Like we had to trade for basic lands because we could never open up enough basic lands of the right kind. Because there was no intro decks
Nice.
being sold anywhere. There was no, lands or bundles or anything like that back then. It was literally just booster packs were the only thing in my town. Yeah. So
That's insane. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like that's such a crazy time to be like, I don't have enough lands to play my deck. So hey, give me like 4 mountains. I'll give you like eight islands. You know, like,
that was pretty much how it went. It was like, I'll trade you some plains for islands, or vice versa, and we
yeah,
build our decks and just be like, just pretend these plains are swamps, all right? Because I don't.
I don't have them. I don't have them. Or you gotta write on there, or you gotta be
Yeah.
like, hey man, this is an island. I know it says plains, but this is an island.
And we didn't have sleeves or anything. Like what was sleeves? I still remember going back to, because I stopped playing. I want to say, God, like when Judgment or Odyssey came out, something like that, or Onslaught, because that was when the first fetches came out. Yeah, I think I stopped right before then, and then I came back when Ravnica Kamigawa was out, and I still remember like going into an LGS and seeing people with sleeves on their cards. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you play with sleeves on cards? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like it's a waste of money. I'll just freaking play them with, without sleeves. Had no idea like cards even cost money, or were worth money or anything,
Just barebacking it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's like, so I stopped playing. I think what came first, was it Kamigawa or Ravnica? No, I think it was Ravnica, then
Kamigawa.
Kamigawa, or was it?
No, Kamigawa came first because that's when I first started playing. I
And
remember the
then it went into
transition,
Ravnica.
and then it went into Ravnica because I bought the first booster pack that I bought had like a Sensei's Divining Top in it, and then I
Oh,
bought
okay.
a
Okay.
Ravnica um like it was like a I think it was like a precon, but it was like a 60 card precon. It had
Yeah,
like,
yeah. They
it
had
was
intro
basically like
decks back then. Yeah.
yeah, the Rakdos like intro deck. So that was my first deck. That was my
Yeah.
first like color combo that I played was Rakdos, and it's very telling.
Yeah.
That's-
God, that I can't remember the first color combo I played. I remember the first deck I ever built was like a mono green worm deck from Urza Saga. It was
Nice.
absolutely garbage because I never played a creature like until turn 4 or turn 5. I didn't fucking know any
Yeah.
better. I was like 10.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we dude, I thought the best card that I thought was like the best card ever was like Stuffy Doll. And to this day, it's my favorite
Oh,
card because
God.
like
I love that
I
card.
cherish that card. It's hilarious. It's just like the aesthetic of it is just like it's so fucking funny. And I've been trying to like put it in an EDH deck, and I can never justify it. I'm like, I mean, even if I
Sure, you
do
can.
the
You can
Stuffy Doll,
justify it. Just build a
I
Nin the
mean,
Paint
yeah.
artist.
That's true. Or yeah, I mean, well, you got like Brash Taunter.
Oh, yeah,
and
Brash Taunter,
you got
too.
those kind of cards out now that make it a little bit better. But when it was just Stuffy Doll, it was like, okay, what deck do I build to put this in to go get it, and then try to do the combo, the guilty conscious combo, which I actually just learned it was like it basically just makes the game a stalemate because it's an
Oh,
infinite loop of damage that never actually goes. That like it just keeps continuing. So unless someone can stop the damage from happening, it just keeps happening, and the game is a stalemate.
oh shit.
So I was like, oh, okay. I
That's
was like,
weird.
I mean, I was like talking it up with someone. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of funny. The way they explained it, it made a very convincing argument. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Sure, I believe you. Cheers to that.
Oh, dude. So, like, I stopped playing again, like, after Ravnica came out, and then since M12, M13, I've been back and I haven't stopped since, and then started a podcast and still can't quit Magic. Can't do it.
It won't let you.
It won't let me.
It
I
keeps
love
you
it too
in.
much. And dude, since the next set, the D&D set, like, oh my
Oh
god,
my God.
dude.
I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm
I'm
fucking
so
insanely
I'm
pumped.
so pumped. I'm so pumped because I love D&D. I got my first fix. Actually, when me and my girlfriend first started dating about 4 years ago, we were in a campaign, and she actually was in the campaign with me, and all my buddies were like, they're like, "Wait, you guys just started dating, and she's playing D&D with you? You better fucking keep her." So she likes you a lot. If she's gonna D&D with you, and she doesn't really know you like that, yeah, keep her.
Dude, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, we started playing, and I made this big, intricate backstory for my character with all this stuff going on. It was like 25 pages of backstory, and the DM was like, "Okay, cool, roll for it." I was like, "I don't know what that means. What do you mean roll for it?" He was like, "Well, roll for your backstory," and I rolled a nat 20, and he was like, "Cool, everything in your backstory exists. You are exactly that person." And I was like, I made this like this wizard or this wizard that was like immune to fire because he was a pyromancer, and like basically his like twin sister was like the phoenix, and like they got separated at this big battle, and like it was all this like backstory. But I created this world. I just world built it, and I was like, I think I would actually enjoy DMing.
Oh,
And
dude,
so
DMing's my favorite. That's I
yeah,
pretty much very rarely play D&D, but I DM like all the time. It's
I
like,
love DMing. Like once I got into that, I was like, okay, this is the world that I love to do. I want to build a world and see the people go on the adventure. I'd rather have that happen than have be a part of the story, because I feel like sometimes, unless it's like a very niche character that I'm like, okay, I would really love playing this character, but like I'd rather just build the story.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's I
Yeah.
literally just finished a 2.5 year campaign uh with my players because we try to play every Friday night. The pandemic sort of switched us online for a long while, and ugh, that sucked because we were so used to playing face to face, and trying to go to online was so hard. But we're just now
Yeah.
coming back to in person play, and we finished our 2.5 year campaign. We just started a new one last night, and it's freaking exciting. It's sort of like a sequel to the 2.5 year campaign. Takes place
Oh,
20
that's so
years later.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's like, all right, cool. We just did Terminator. Now we're doing Terminator 2.
Dude, what's fun about it is because a lot of these characters, they've been playing 2.5 years. They've shaped this world that I've built, and I've allowed them to basically come up with ways like how their old characters have basically redefined, basically the events of what happened, and build stuff. Or one of them built like their own wizard tower. Another one built like an order of paladins and all that, and I'm like, yep, that all happens, and it's gonna shape the way the second campaign works out, and so it's
You get like little offshoots of like remnants of like things that they had done.
yep.
It's just like nice little Easter eggs, that you can sprinkle in there as a DM to kind of like pay homage to what all the hard work that they have put in. It's just such a cool little chef's kiss, like in that
Oh,
in that
dude,
moment. Like,
uh,
oh man,
dude, it was great. So what I had them do in the first session for the new campaign was instead of like doing the whole you meet in a tavern type thing, instead I set up a carnival. That there was a carnival that's happening in this country that, you know, everyone in the country wants to go to. And so when they get to the carnival, one of them are there's someone performing, you know, a bunch of actors performing the show of the final battle that all the players went through in the previous campaign. But the funny thing was, like, they got it completely wrong of like what actually happened, because, you know, it's 20 years further, so some events are being misremembered of what happened and all that stuff. And my players loved it because they're laughing like that's not what happened, and it's it was great. I loved it. And
So cool.
and they just really enjoyed it. So and part of the carnival like prizes and all that stuff, because I set it up to where like you play games and all that stuff and you can get prizes, and one of the prizes was they could get action figures of their old campaign characters.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That is so cool. Now you gotta like reach out to like Hasbro and be like, yo, I'm gonna need this this D&D character campaign. Like, let me get this
God,
action figure.
dude.
And they're like, all right.
Dude,
so
not
cool.
Not just that, but I've been, because I'm actually actively writing my first D&D module. Like I'm in playtesting it right now, and it's a pretty short adventure, but dude, I could just imagine if I was trying to put my 2.5 year campaign into a book, like, oh fuck that, man. Oh man, dude,
That's awesome.
that
That's
takes
awesome.
way too much work. But oh dude, I love D&D. It's freaking with the D&D set coming out. I had do you remember Mishi from Wizards of the Coast? She used to be the community manager before Sean took over.
I kind of am just. I mean, I literally just got on Twitter like back in November. So like,
Oh, okay.
all people are new to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know Gavin.
Yeah.
So Mishi was the community manager before Sean was. And I had her on the podcast, and I also had Gavin on the podcast too. And I can remember fucking asking them both, you know, on both episodes, like, you know, it'd be a really cool idea if you guys made a D&D set in Magic. And they just give me this smile, like, and I know they can't say anything. This was like 2 years ago, and they can't say anything. And then I reached out to both of them when they announced the D&D set. I'm like, I almost wanted to say, you motherfuckers, you knew, and you couldn't say anything. Because they both gave me this, like, you know, this smile, like, yep, it's coming.
Like, yep, it's coming. We can't say shit, but it's happening.
Oh, man. Like, dude, it's freaking, I love both worlds. Like, when D&D released the Magic books of, like, Ravnica and Theros and all that. Oh, man. Dude, that Ravnica book was so good. Like, I'm not even that big of a fan of Ravnica, but they did that campaign book was so well done. Like, it made me appreciate Ravnica more, just because of, like, I even ran a little campaign in it too, because it was just so good.
Nice. Yeah, I need to actually pick up that book. I've been trying to run a campaign, a D20 Modern, for Resident Evil spinoff.
Ooh,
So
nice.
I'm such a big survival horror fan. Love Resident Evil. Love that world. Hated the movies because they weren't
I only saw
anything close to what the games are.
I only ever saw the first two. I never saw past the second one.
It's just, I mean, it's just action. So it's like pretty much like I actually, contrary to like everyone's like, oh man, Resident Evil 4 was the best one. I'm like, no, that's actually what kind of like great for them for making that game and making so much off of it that Resident Evil can still exist, and I appreciate that. But I think as far as storyline wise, it took a nosedive because it made it more action oriented, because it was trying to compete with like the Call of Duties at the time. It was trying to compete with like all those. Like, survival horror needs to be like, I don't have enough. Like when like you shoot an enemy and like all of a sudden you can pick up bullets. I'm like, he didn't have bullets on him. Like he had a knife, or he had like a blunt weapon. Like, why does he have bullets? Like, I don't want to turn into an arcade game. Like, let me have to like scavenge or like scrape and like choose my own adventure. Like, oh cool, like I don't have enough weapons to like fight all the enemies in the game. So if I shoot everything, I'm going to be out of bullets by the time I get to the end boss. That's survival horror to me. You know, it's like, okay, I got this knife. maybe let me like stun an enemy and hopefully just
Yeah.
go around and go on to the next door.
Yeah, no, I saw you post a lot about Resident Evil 8 and all that. Did you like that game? I haven't played it yet or anything.
It's really fun. Like I think it out of the new Resident Evil, I guess, module, it has the most replayability because you can beat the game and hopefully no spoilers. You can beat the game and you can kind of do like a new game plus where you
Hmm.
start with all your weapons and everything. Um, as far as like fear factor goes, it's not as scary except for this one part. There's one section of the game that no matter what, I'll be like, oh God, I don't want to do this.
Dude, I played through. I
um,
haven't beaten Resident Evil 7 yet, but dude, just playing through that game, it scared me a few times. Like, holy shit.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Resident Evil 7 is actually legit scary. Like it's
Yeah.
like I mean, I think that's what they were trying to change. They were like, yeah, this game was too scary. People are not trying to replay it. They like play it once and like that's it, which I loved. I'm like scared the hell out of me. Like I mean, I remember being in the theater. Like the only movie that's ever like scared the shit out of me and my girlfriend was Hereditary. Like we were in the theaters and we were like, we kind of looked over at each other like, what the fuck is going on? Like this movie is fucked up. Like the whole time, and then we had the idea of coming back home and doing research on the whole damn movie and being like, what are these guys like? What is this demon possession thing? Like doing research on like the different names and like the people that they were like possessed by and like, and then we just could not go to sleep that night.
Oh
Like we were
shit. I
just
haven't
like,
seen
she
that
was
movie.
up. Oh, it will fuck you up if you're into like horror movies. Like, I mean, it's on like Conjurer level, or the Conjuring level, like the first two. Like that's how fucked up that movie was. The scariest movie I've ever seen is still Get Out, though. Get Out is the
I've been meaning to see that
Jordan Peele's.
movie. Yeah, Jordan Peele's
Oh
so
my
good.
god, he's a brilliant genius. The fact that he brought up, ugh, I can't even like talk about that movie without having chills. Like legit, like I just like a chill ran up my spine just like talking about it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
No, I want to say the last movie I remember seeing that really fucked my head up was The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist.
Oh shit! Did you read the book?
Yeah,
Oh, hello, Gato.
yeah. Hey, this is her name's Primrose.
Oh, hello,
Yeah.
Primrose.
Yeah, I read
We
the book.
have Arya.
Oh, you have Arya. Yeah, well, yeah, we've got a cat named Arya too.
Sure. Oh yeah! Yay!
I don't know
She
where
used
she
to
is.
be
She's
Tyrion, and then she turned into Arya when she got fixed. And then they were like, "Hey, you know, because we adopted, and we were like, oh yeah, we got their a boy cat." And then we took her to the vet, and like she never showed or whatever. She was like, "Oh, it's weird." Like, hey, is it weird that she doesn't have the male parts? And they were like, "Oh, sometimes it takes a while to show, like da da da." And then when we went to get her fixed, they're like, "Oh, by the way, your cat's a girl." We're like, "Oh, okay, that explains a lot now."
that's weird.
So we went from calling her Tyrion to Arya, which makes sense if you think about it, because Arya, I mean, this is no spoiler to people who haven't seen Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen it by now, then whatever. Like the many-faced god and like the
Yeah,
whole thing. So I was like, oh, well, maybe she was pretending to be Tyrion, which would have been a chef's kiss in the show if she
yeah.
actually did that, or like pretended to be Jaime Lannister and kill Cersei while they were like having sex. I was like, that was like my thing. I was like, oh my God, Arya needs to just like turn into Jaime, have already killed Jaime, get his face, go have sex with Cersei, and then murder her as Jaime, and then take off her mask and be like, oh, I was Arya the whole time. Boom. I would have been like, yep,
That would
cool.
have
I don't
been
care what
too
else happens in
good.
the rest of the series. Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
would have
then
been
we
too
got what
good.
we got.
Yeah, yeah. But no, going back to the Mist though. Yeah, I read the book
Oh
first,
my God.
and then I saw the
Oh,
movie. Dude, the movie's ending, it's like way better than the actual book ending. That ending like
really?
tore me up.
Oh my God. When Thomas Jane gets out of the car and after killing everyone, he's like, I mean, like that. I mean, I love John Barenthal's Punisher, but come on, Tommy Jane, man, like that dude is my Punisher. Like he's so good. Like
Yeah,
He's
what
fucking.
happened to him? Like, I feel like he's disappeared. Is he still doing stuff or?
I feel like he's still doing stuff. I feel like it's such a weird business right now. I feel like, who knows? Like, I feel like there's part of people who like you have to kind of make your own content, and it's like if you're not making your own content, then what are you doing? So
Yeah,
like, there's not enough content to be made out for to suffice to satisfy like everyone in the business. So it's just easier to just produce. And like I've been really inspired um by Donald Glover, by Issa Rae, um, those types that are just doing their own thing and they're producing content. And that's I'm really inspired. I actually just wrote my first pilot um, about 6 months ago and finished that. And I got, like I'm working on just new things because that's how you get shit done. It's like, yeah, I don't want to wait around to say, hey, this is your perfect role. I want to make my perfect role. I want to write that. Like, this is that's for me.
well, and that's like a story that I hear a lot of times from, just watching documentaries on actors and directors and all that stuff. It's not going to come to you. You have to go out and find it, and I think that's true of like a lot of stuff in life. I mean, like I look at my career and all that stuff of what I've done in healthcare. So just like let you know, like I what I do for my day job, I'm a network architect, and I have to design a lot of networks for hospitals across the nation and all that stuff. But I didn't start doing that. I didn't have any aspirations, but I fell into it. I loved it, and it's if I hadn't taken the leap of faith into it, it's sort of like what you're doing now. You have to believe in yourself, and you're gonna fail a lot of times, and
Oh yeah,
fucking sucks failing. Holy shit.
yeah.
But you just gotta pick yourself back up because shit, that's what's been really rough the past few months is with the pandemic coming back, and all these hospitals are been wanting to sign up with our systems like that we do across the nation and all that stuff in radiology. And it's some of these I've failed at doing some of the cutovers, and it takes a lot out of you, because you feel like you fucking suck, right? And it's just
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. You're gonna fail no matter how good you are at something, and I
I
think
think
that
one
this is
one
just like a just lesson of life.
It really is. Like, that's one thing my dad told me is like one thing that he instilled was that no matter what, you're going to fuck up. But the fact of the matter is, if you fuck up twice in a row, that's your fault because you didn't learn the lesson. And I think it's indicative to the fact of like us as human beings being able to fail and realize like, oh wait, now I learned, now I'm a better person for that. It's like it's almost like a level up system, like if you really
Hmm.
think about it. So failing is really just a way to gain experience. And the more experience you gain, you're gonna level up and you're not gonna make that same mistake again. But like I really embrace failing because it lets me know like, oh, I was off on that. Let me figure out what that was. Let me try to not do that again. Or what about that was profitable for me as a human being that allowed me to take this and go, okay, cool. How do I take this and learn the lesson? Or what lesson was that for me to learn? Um, and so I kind of embrace failing. I kind of really like it because I know I'm going to fail for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
I know I'm going to make bad mistakes. I know I'm going to be that unsuccessful in a lot of things. But um, I think that having that knowledge and going forward, I almost embrace it. Like I'm like, cool, let me fail, let me fuck up, how can I
Oh
fuck up
yeah.
today?
Oh
Almost
oh
like because
oh yeah.
yeah, it's just like it's such a good learning tool and I think for everyone to have, and it builds confidence. It builds, it does suck to fail. There's nothing fun about that initial reaction of like, oh man, but then it's like, okay, cool. Let me be constructive. How can I turn this into something else? What did I learn? how is this going to make me a better person?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you never make that mistake again, you just keep elevating and getting better and better and better. Because I think that failure is one of those things that it really, especially like creating content or just creating anything on your own, it's really hard to hear the no's. And like I've been in this business for for 10 plus years. Last year was my 10th year in being in the business, and I think it's also been my most successful venture as an actor. And the roles that I booked and the things that I booked, and it's like, how many years of failure had I had? And then my mom also told me, she was like, well, now this is your year one. So all those 10 years that you tried and you struggled and you fucked up and you failed and you did this, now you're back in, like, it's almost like you hit the reset button. So like but for me, it's like a new game plus. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like now I get to go into this new venture with all of these tools, with all of the equipment, all of the enhancements that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And knowing that I know this battle's coming up, I'm about to wreck this boss. It's like, it's not even a question. Like, cool, I'm gonna one shot that boss. Now I can get back to where I was, or advance past to where I was, whereas like I was a naked, rogue in the fucking woods. And I think that there's merit to failure. And so like, if anybody's, out there going through what we're going through, it's take that as a win. When you fail, as long as you learn something from it, it's a win. It's the very key thing that gives you the fortitude to keep moving forward. And I think that as long as you don't get it down, or you don't get down on yourself, and you have people that are going to encourage you but also critique you, it's that good balance of, I guess, people being around you to give you like the real talk, but also encourage you to keep being better and upgrading yourself. I think that's the best formula that people don't realize that they need to keep around themselves. And it's not that you keep the people like, the yes men around you. It's like, you want to keep those people like kind of, but like you want them to also like give you that real talk, constructive criticism when you make a mistake or when you fail. It's like real talk. It's like, you go outside and like, I would want someone, if I had a fucking booger in my nose, I'm like, I want somebody to tell me like, yo, dude, you got a booger in your nose, instead of being like, hey man, like, let's this is getting these pictures with you, like everything's cool. And then you get home and you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why did no one tell me I had a fucking booger in my nose? Oh man, you look good though. It's cool. It's like, no, I don't need these motherfuckers around me. I need some like, people be like, hey man, let me come here. Like, here's a napkin. Like, get this shit out of here. It's like, cool. Now you're good. Because it's like, I don't know how I'm going on this tangent, but like, I think it's just, the energy that you bring around yourself and around people, it motivates you to get to that next level, to elevate yourself. Because if you and your friends are constantly leveling each other up, there's no way that you can't win. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing I had to learn out here in LA. It's like, once you find your tribe, that's key. That's so key. So for anyone who's listening, it's like, how do I get started in this business? That is the number one thing. It's like, just find a tribe. You find your tribe and you don't quit.
You touched upon, you touched upon something that I found really important growing up in terms of failure is, not only having friends that can help out, but allowing yourself to not get so hard on yourself. I feel like as I've gotten older, it's okay to feel the feelings of defeat and anger and, self-defeat and all that, but not let it consume you. Like like just use an example, a couple weeks ago, we were trying to cut over a new network and all that stuff, and it failed. And a lot of it, looking back on it, a lot of it was due to stuff out of my control. But I was still like really angry. It's like, fuck, this should have been easy. I had everything all planned out and everything. And, and life smacks you in the balls and just tells you nope. And but I felt like it was also important to get out the frustration and not just bottle it in, and then just, just let yourself calm down, then go back to the problem. and all that stuff, because it allows you to deconstruct it and figure out what's wrong. And you know, just on the problems that I've been facing, it's also opened up new conversations to my boss, telling him like, the way we're going about this is not the right way. We need to really re-examine how we're doing these things. And it's, you know, and basically that feedback has gone up the chain, because I'm one of those people, like, if I see something wrong, I'm gonna go try to fix it. Like, I'm not, and I'm not afraid to tell people when I see something fucked up. I can't keep it in me.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I was like, and you're fulfilling that role. You know, you're a problem solver, and you're not afraid to see the problem and go, hey, there's something fucked up about this. There are some people that see fucked up things every day, and like, I guess, go on a deeper level. You know, having allies, and you know, today being Juneteenth, being, you know, something that's really important for me and the people that I'm around, and my girlfriend, you know, being very loud about Black Lives Matter, and like, you know, just in general, just like having those people that are your allies that are like, hey, you said something fucked up and racist. That was wrong. I'm going to correct this problem right now. And it's like, I think that we need to normalize that. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that thought process. Like, we need to take that thought process to, you know, put it in everyday conversation, because that would squash all the bullshit. It will squash a lot of ignorance, because once you educate someone in anything, like even what you're talking about or what I'm talking about, it's like, oh, cool. I didn't realize I was wrong, but now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Fucking G.I. Joe. So like, yeah, it's just fucking easier to take initiative and to squash the problem, as opposed to letting it linger and letting it fester and letting it, you know, become an abscess or a sore, and be like, oh my God, like I need to, like, you know, squash this out of here. So yeah, I mean, cheers.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, it's God, you know, speaking of Juneteenth and all that, it's just reminds me of just like the fucked up year that we've had, just everything going on. And
Yeah.
it's, you know, I like to think that we, you know, in America and as a world, we've come a long way with stuff, but there's still so much shit that's so fucked up. And, you know, it's important, I feel, to see the change that has happened, and that even though we can't rest on our laurels, there's still so much shit left to do. It's a good buddy of mine that I work with, you know, he and I were just talking, you know, he just retired from the Army Reserves, and you know, now he can finally go and protest shit, because apparently being in the military you can't protest. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
It's
new to me.
Or like, I don't. He said there's some real weird rules about protesting, like in the military, or like if you're actively in the military, something like that. So he can finally go and, you know, join Black Lives Matters things and all that stuff. But man, it's like, even being in Florida, like, fuck, you got to be careful doing that shit here, because we've got fucking Trump crazies everywhere. I live in a county where there's heavy Trump supporters here, and it's like, fuck, you know, like even just wearing this shirt here, where no one should fucking care if, you know, you support LGBTQ and, you know, people are gay, lesbian, whatever. It's, you know, it's still feel a little apprehensive, because you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna piss off the wrong redneck here, you know.
It sucks, man. Like, and it's going back to that conversation. It's like, we need to have the conversation. Like, when someone is spitting that ignorant bullshit, we need to educate. You know, it's like, and sometimes people can't be helped. Like, we're not going to be able to like convert everyone, but yeah, I think having the conversation and is the start. You know, you know, we recently, not recently, but like a few episodes ago, I wore this shirt on one of our episodes. And I got a lot of fucking, like, people calling me nigger, people calling me, you know, like saying they wanted to fucking hang me, you know, like stuff. It was bad, you know. And it made me want to quit. It made me want to be like, you know what? This is why I didn't want to put myself out there as a content creator. This is why I didn't want to do this, because I knew this shit existed. I knew that this shit would go down, and I was like, you know what, I need to fight through this, because there's other people that fought through much worse to get to the place that we are now. So I feel like I need to keep going in order to get to the place where it's normalized. It's like, hey, this is just cool. Like, there's a bunch of Black content creators. There's a bunch of brown people doing this. There's a bunch of, and not to say there aren't, but we are the content creators. I love the community in general. I love, like, the community is so cool. Like the culture that everyone's cultivated in the Magic community is like, I mean, I feel like I'm at home. Like, everybody's like, yo, I got your back. What's up? Everybody's dope. But I want to normalize it and make it so that people who are growing up, or people who have even wanted to ever, like, be a nerd, because, like, it's not really a thing in the Black community. Like, real talk, it's not being like you can, like, being a nerd is cool now.
Right? Yeah, it was not
really
cool back when we were kids.
Oh, and it's in our community now. It's like you can be like, oh yeah, I'm a Black nerd, and it's like, yeah, there's like the Black nerd community, but it also, in the Black community, it's not like cool to be a nerd still. And like other communities, like, hey, yeah, like, but it's like, I'm trying to, like, cross that bridge to be like, yo, you can wear J's and still fucking sling spells. You can fucking, like, rock Gucci and still fucking, like, chill. And, like, and people like the homie Austin Post Malone, like, he, people like that, Cassius Marsh, like, we're trying to normalize shit and, like, make, like, yo, dude, like, you can rock, like, even, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but, like, even Logan Paul, like, rocking the fucking, like, Charizard, like, around his neck.
That was hilarious. That was pretty good.
It was like, it's like, that's the chain that you're wearing, because it's like 30 grand, like, around your neck. You know what I mean? Like, that's
right?
the balling shit. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, we balling out here. So it's like, it's normalizing the fact that, like, bridging those gaps that are there. And, like, I feel like if I can attribute anything to that, and, like, also, when you have haters, that means you're doing something right. Like, when you got that actual, is true. Like, legit people, like, hating on you, being like, man, fuck you, like, they're experiencing your energy, and they're like, something is going on. I actually had to look this up, because I don't know what it's like to hate on someone, because I all of my life, I've always big up someone, or if I wanted something that someone else had, like, oh man, that's a dope car. How do I make that happen for me? Let me become their friend and figure out what their process was to, like, have that happen. That's always been my thought process. So when someone's like, man, I'm just going to be on here and be negative, and, like, I'm just like, that takes a lot of energy. Like I had to look that up and be like, what thought process do people go through that makes them want to hate on someone else? Because, like, I just don't think like that. I just always would say, if you didn't have something that someone else had, why wouldn't you just aspire to figure out how to do that too? Or, like, if you're like, it just didn't dawn on me. Like, I need to look this up. I'm like, how do I? I'm like on my phone, like, how do I fucking? What are haters' mentality? Like, what is that?
Well, so, it's a lot of self-hatred too that happens. Like, these people are just unhappy with their lives, and they take it out on others, and it sucks that you had to go through that shit, because I remember when that happened, wearing that shirt on that episode, and it's I don't know. To me, it's almost like it's fucking dumb that people would get mad over that shit, and God, I've even had to deal with this with my own family, like my parents, because they're older generation, all that shit, and it's like, we're not saying that other lives don't matter, right? It's just that right now it's Black Lives Matter, and they just can't seem to comprehend it, and then they go, especially looking back at January 6th and all that stuff, they go like, well, BLM protests, they destroyed shit. I'm like, no, this is not whataboutisms, right? I'm sorry, were a lot of the protests around the country got, rioting and all that stuff. Yeah, that happened. But, they weren't trying to overthrow a country.
Like, you look at that and you look at like, I don't condone that either, because like I don't condone the people who were rioting and looting. That's not what Black Lives Matter means to me. It's not what I wear the shirt. It's not what It's not what the hashtag stands for. It's not what the movement stands for. Those people were those individuals, and you are talking about storming a fucking Capitol. Like, you got to be goddamn kidding me. Like, you're talking about white privilege to the extreme.
Oh my
like,
god.
what is
Oh
that?
my god. I know. It's fucking and the amount of gaslighting that's going on. Like it's first they said it was Antifa BLM, you know, that were secret protesters, and now they're saying it was the FBI who planned it all. And I'm all like, okay, so let's say they were some FBI informants in the actual, you know, crowd of the protesters, right? Does that mean the FBI itself planned it? No. It's like they already have fucking proof that all these fucking Trump crazies have planned it since whenever, you know, after the election and all that stuff. It's a scary fucking time right now. We're just thinking about our democracy.
Very scary time. Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane. It's like it's insane the fact that people don't grasp the concept of, hey, you know what? You know what'd be nice if we could just be fucking cool. Like I said earlier in the podcast, just be fucking cool. Like, just be chill. Like, there's a lot at stake here, and there's a lot more that's going on than your own selfishness, like you touched on. Like, it's just a selfish behavior that I feel like America is adopted, and I feel like other countries have, you know, we're like looking at everyone else go, oh, they're a third world country. I'm like, we're looking like a third world country right now. We're looking like the bullshit. Like, when we storm our own capital and we're like, yeah, we want our rights, guns, this and that.
This is
like,
shit that third world
up,
countries do, right? That shit that you know, I've always been involved in politics. Just, you know, just researching, you know, figuring all that shit out. But this is the first time that I'm actually dreading next year during the midterms. Like, I'm so afraid like the Republicans are going to get back in power, and it's like, that's it, it's done. Like, and the fact that so many of the GOP are now just embracing the QAnon shit that's genuinely fucking scary. Like, it's scarier than it's pretty much scarier than Trump right now, because it's like, fuck, man. And
it's like a cult, dude. It's like
it totally is.
Like,
it is a cult. It's
a cult mentality that it's like, yeah, it's really fucking scary.
The demon eating liberals, or the baby eating liberals, or whatever shit they say. It's like, and you know it. And okay, so this is like a really dumb thing to get mad at, but I will say, thanks to these fucking QAnon fuckers, it's no longer fun to like research conspiracy theories, because like, you know, I've always been interested in, you know, UFOs, Bigfoot, shit like that, and then when the 9/11 thing happened, because, you know, there's always been the thing that always weirded me out about the whole 9/11 thing was just what happened at the Pentagon, because there's actual video footage of like when they showed when the Pentagon got hit. It's like, there's no way a plane as big as a Boeing could have hit that. But, you know, whatever. It's but it's also, but now it's like, you try to look at conspiracy shit, it's like, oh, it's full of fucking QAnon shit now. It's like, fucking hell, man. It's like, it's all QAnon crazies everywhere, and it's like, dude, do you have HBO Max?
Dude.
Did you watch that QAnon documentary?
No, not yet. I've heard about it. Like, I am so far behind on all of my things. I still haven't even seen the Snyder Cut yet. So like, I'm so far behind on shit. I'm like,
no, I know what you mean.
8 or 7. I think I've seen like 7 or 8 like shows. Like people are like, oh, watch this. I'm like, put it in the queue.
Yep.
Put it in the queue.
No, I know what you mean.
Put it in the queue.
Oh. No, but just watching that documentary just really opens up your eyes, like how sites like 4chan and you know, 8chan, stuff like that, like how they've basically sort of weaponized like how QAnon came to be, and just it's fucking scary shit, man. It's the other thing I want to mention too is, it's we still have a long ways to go for Black Lives Matter and just racial injustice or racial justice or yeah for. But the one thing that does give me a bit of hope is like the younger generations. It's it's when my daughter's about to be 18, my youngest just turned 12, and they are like some of the most empathetic people that I can recall, like, and just and talking to teachers and all that stuff, they say like some of these generations that are coming now, they're some of the most empathetic we've seen. And there's still bullying and stuff like that. I mean, that's never going to go away, but it's like nothing compared to what some teachers can recall, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, stuff like that.
Yeah. So we were in school, it was like, cool, shut up and man up, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you got bullied, like, figure it out,
Oh, there was so much toxic masculinity
go
back
fight
then,
them,
man.
like, geez. Right, man. I was like another thing too was like, just to touch on, like, when I became an actor and I was like, oh, I get a role and I can cry, and like that's the role, and I get to like actually just express my feelings. Oh man, that was like therapy in a bottle. Like, it was like so dope to like be able to like cry in front of people, and like people like yes, encourage it. It's like it's nuts. And I mean, yeah, we should normalize, like, yeah, there's no such thing as man up. It's like, yeah, like I tell all of my friends I love them, no matter what, guy, girl, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like, I will hug and like, I embrace like that kind of love because I love my friends. Like, there's no like, oh man, you got to man up. Oh man, take a shot and you walk it off. It's like, no, dude, like, yeah, we got to get past that. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think we are starting to get past that. Like, the people that are coming up are very empathetic. They're very, embracing, like, yo, this isn't cool. This isn't right. And I love that. I really do. It's really, uplifting that people are taking that fight to the next level.
No, and I hope it everybody stays like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Same, man. Yeah. It's time. It's time to start looking like the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is full of everyone. It's mixed, and it's loving, and it's awesome, and like, yeah, there's certain things that are still fucked up, but like the way the world looks is not how we are painting that picture, but we're trying to change that, and I think we're getting to that state, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
It's getting there, man. Like I said, I feel like, especially in America, has made a lot of progress in the past 100 years, but there's still so much shit need to be done. It's like, our fucking justice system to start off with. It's my buddy and I were talking about that, like, especially last year when the whole George Floyd thing happened, and a lot of the BLM protests were going on. And it got me just so fucking depressed, man, because it's like, okay, we know that cops need to stop profiling minorities and all that, and stop killing them. But so how do you fix that, right? Better training, get rid of the shitty cops, like, stop with the whole qualified immunity, and there's probably so many other things you could fix with it. But I feel like that's just such a small cog in the wheel, because then you also look at the justice system itself. You got fucking laws that are fucked up. You got judges that are fucked up. You've got the private prison complex, which is really fucked up, because they'll throw your ass in jail for every small thing, and because they want to keep that jail cell filled so they can charge the county to make money and all that shit. It's like, and you just start spiraling down further and all that stuff, and it's just like, fuck, it makes you depressed, because it's like, fixing the police is one thing. Yeah, it's like, how do you fix it?
How do you fix it? Yeah, it's gotten so out of hand that it's like, where do we start now? But I think the optimistic route in that thought process is that we are looking to start to change things. And I think that as long as we are learning and as long as we are growing, like you said, the younger, really younger generation is becoming more empathetic, and they are going to outlive us, hopefully, and that wave is going to last into a new generation of people, and it's going to take us forward into those things, and like have someone in power and go, yeah, this law is stupid. Hey, can we all vote that this is stupid? And
Yeah.
everyone's like, yeah, this is stupid. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get rid of this bullshit. Like this is not serving anyone except for, X, Y, and Z. And we don't need to serve X, Y, and Z. We need to serve the people. You know.
Oh, no, and like I
So
said,
yeah, man.
it,
They were on the same page.
yeah, it's like I said, I have hope for my kids' generation, all that stuff, and younger generations past that, because it's like, what, 100 years ago there was, what, 100 years would have been the 1920s. Shit, that's fucking crazy. Think about it.
Yeah.
So that would have been prohibition. What that would have been, there still would have been segregation back then, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah.
and like I keep saying, we've come such a long way, and it's like, and speaking to my grandparents, especially my grandmother, she can remember, the separate water fountains and the separate places sitting and all that stuff, and it's like I said, I hope that when I'm older, we see like a lot better shit and all that stuff, right? Like I was so happy to actually see like the first, like, be alive for to see the first black president. Like that to me was fucking amazing.
I love it.
Dude, if you have not, I recommend reading Obama's memoirs if you haven't.
Oh, I mean, I'm not.
Dude,
This is Aria, by the way.
oh, hi. Oh, such a cute kitty. It's so his memoirs are like, it is a fucking long slog, but holy shit. It just like it just goes to show like how fucked up our political system is too. Like, and it also showed me like I would never want to be fucking president. Hell no.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Hell to the no.
because it's not just the you're working 24/7, for like at least 4 years. It's also that
Yeah.
no matter what you want to fucking do, you because that's what surprised me. Sort of like he wanted to do so much good in his presidency, right? Like affordable health care, and fix whatever inequality that's out there and whatnot, and yet you can't fucking, because someone's just gonna say nope, can't do it, because and the senators and congressmen are so fucking selfish, because they're like, well, if I do this then I'm not gonna get elected again. It's like,
Yeah. That's literally it.
yeah, it's God.
Yeah. Politics is it's a fucking nightmare and a half, and like I said, I think we just need more people that look like the rest of the world in
We need more people like
in
AOC.
power, and that are making decisions. Oh, fuck yeah. That AOC Bernie ticket, I was like,
Yes.
oh, let's go. I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I was like,
Oh,
here
man.
for it. I'm not mad at what happened. I was so here for that ticket. I was like, you know what?
Oh man. Oh man, hell yeah, that would have been great. Man, so that's right. You mentioned that I wanted to ask you this. You mentioned that you had to cry for a scene one time. For
I mean,
or
yeah, I mean, just like in general, just like in acting, like just I felt like there was moments where the emotion came because the scene was so heavy, and then I would cry because that, and it was encouraged. It was like not, and it was a more like a therapeutic moment for me to get away from the years of being told like, hey, don't cry, hey, don't
Yeah.
show emotion, hey, don't do this. And it was a world that embraced me being emotional, and loving, and yeah, that's and also another thing that made me fall in love with acting.
So what's the mindset to get in like that? Because I mean, I know nothing about acting, but it's you see these films where people like have really emotional stuff and they have to cry and all that. Like, what's the mindset and preparation for that you have to do?
I don't really think. I mean, for me personally, like, I don't think there's like the source material is really is like once I read something, if I tear up while I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking like lose my shit when I start acting because you see it like it's like when you see a movie or you read something or not even see a movie when you read something
Hmm.
you get like caught up in it and like your emotions like no matter what those emotions are, that's exactly what we aspire to convey in that, I guess, in that moment. And so, if I ever read a script or if I'm like reading something and I'm like, oh man, this is, fuck the like what the stage directions are. Like, I'm very like untraditional in that sense. I'm like, I don't really, I love improv. I love doing things like in the moment. And so like I can have a general sense of like what could occur and like what the scene's like structure is, but like as far as like saying exactly like I'm not I hate it. Like I'd rather just go like curb your enthusiasm moment where it's like, hey, here's like what's gonna happen. Here's where you need to get to, figure it out. But if I'm reading like a scene where I'm like, okay, cool, this is I'm becoming emotional, I'm becoming I'm tearing up. I know that when I start delivering that speech, I'm going to have that same emotionality, and I may or may not start to, but I think in that moment, I think there's two choices. I think that I can either give in fully to that emotionality or I can hold back and let the audience see how much I'm getting through this speech, even though I know I'm emotional. And I think that's sometimes more effective because then people are like, oh my God, like I am crying for that person now.
Hmm.
And or I am going through that emotion for that person because they're resisting it so much that they need to get this information out. And I think that's like it's a very delicate balance, and I love that shit.
Man.
It's just it brings me so much joy. It's just like night and day, and if it can affect one person, like if I can talk to a crowd of thousands of people, and one person comes out of it and goes, "You changed my mind. I'm going to do this," or "You inspired me." It's all worth it. It's all fucking worth it. Like if one fucking person in my whole lifetime comes out of this and becomes the next president or becomes the next whatever, in a positive way, I'm like, fuck yeah, I did my job,
That's
and I'm
awesome,
happy for
man.
that.
That's awesome. That's
Um,
pretty intense. It's yeah. No, and I mean, no, and I'm like genuinely curious because I love movies, TV shows, and all that stuff. And one of my favorite trilogies, Lord of the Rings. I've seen so many of the behind the scenes
yeah.
stuff, and just it's
Mhm.
like a lot of it's more just the mental preparation that just always gets me. It's like, how do you know, like, and I have to assume like when you're acting in TV show or movie, like you're also probably working with the director and writers a lot to try to understand what the character's trying to convey and all that,
Of
like
course.
what the character probably wants to be feeling at this point. And it always interests me because it's like, how do you, I don't know, like, and I guess it really is just sort of getting out of yourself and into this new person that that isn't you, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is like when it comes to that kind of relationship, you really just have to trust one another. When it comes to the writer and director and your other castmates, and like you really just kind of have to form like a family. You kind of have to form like a bond with everyone and go, hey, we're here for this. Like this is why we're doing this, and this is what I need to serve the scene for this character, and yet I may disagree with certain things that are going on with this character or whatever. That's my personal shit. I need to get that out the way. I am this character now, um, and really become that and embrace that. And like some people, method acting where they have to like be that person. Like there's some people that are like on set and like don't call me by my real name. You call me by my character name. And I'm definitely not as that intense. I have done that research,
Hmm.
and it's cool to a certain aspect, like going out in your character. Like I've gone out in the world in a character and been like, okay, this is different from me. This is not who I am, but it's fun to like play this character now because people are treating me differently, based on those choices. So yeah, I think it's just a nice little dance, and that you have to like, and a lot of trust, that you have to have for your fellow castmates, and know that I am serving the scene, and I'm serving a bigger picture, in that light. And so I think that that's where it's kind of easier to go for that emotionality, or whatever that the scene needs, because you are giving yourself to that moment, for that character, and fuck what you're going through. And then as soon as they yell cut, you can break out of that. They yell cut and you're like, cool, I'm out of it, back to what I was doing.
Interesting.
And then when they yell action, it's like, cool, now I'm fucking back in it. Some people have to like stay in it like the whole time because they're like, oh, if I break character, I'm gonna do, but everybody has their own. Literally, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Everybody has their own shit. So it's that's why it's like it's really hard to teach acting, to teach what we're doing, is because there's no way to do it right. There's not a science behind it. It's all emotionality, and someone can be like, well, so and so's a shit actor, and then someone would be like, my God, like that's the best acting I've ever seen. It's all subjective. There's no science to it. And that's art. That's art for you. Someone can be like, all right, cool, there's shit on the fucking painting. Somebody go, oh my God, I'm paying 80 grand for that. Somebody be like, that's shit on the painting. That's actual shit. But to someone else, that's life.
Oh God, yeah. So damn.
It's all subjective.
Oh man, yeah. No, you put it perfectly there. God, it's so interesting just learning about the industry like that. It's so what else is in there for Joseph Johnson? Like, is it like, what's your goal when it comes to acting? Is it like try to land a big part one day, or is it get your own TV show, or what is it that you want out of this?
I want to, personally, for me, I would love to have my own production company, and
That'd be
that
cool.
I can hire the people that I love and make the projects that I want to work on, and and develop the things that I would love to do. And I know that that's in play. That is going to happen eventually. I just need to like take the right steps in order to acquire that. And I feel like I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I said, it's essentially take 10 years to do a thing, and then year one comes when you start to see a little bit of success. And you're like, oh yeah, they're overnight success. It's like, nah, we've been hustling. But I definitely see, I would love to be in a series regular, in a show. I would love to be part of the Marvel universe.
Oh, dude,
I've
that'd
always,
be
like, my
fucking.
friends know that I am a huge nerd. So anything, any kind of like anything. Like, I love Nightwing. That's my favorite DC character.
Ooh, Nightwing's good.
Iceman, yeah, Iceman, or Cyclops, or Scott Summers would be like my
That'd be
go-to.
cool.
Like,
That'd
if
be
I
cool.
had to play a character in the Marvel universe, I think Iceman. Like, I will play Bobby Drake like all day, every day. Like, that is like, I feel like that's my spirit animal. Like, he's so fucking funny. He'd be so fun to play, but yet he'd also have a lot of responsibility because he's really fucking powerful.
Yeah.
So, and also Scott Summers, like, having that like but also, like, in my vision, like, my ultimate casting of of Scott Summers would be John Boyega, because I feel like he's such a presence that like commands respect. And like, he just steps on the screen and he just knows, like, I want to lead this fucking team. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna follow that motherfucker. Especially during like the BLM protests, and he was just like,
Oh my
very
God,
vocal.
that
And
fucking speech he
very,
gave like fucking broke me. Oh my God.
I'm like tearing up thinking about it now.
Oh my
But like,
God.
that's my Cyclops. I was like, I will follow you into the fucking abyss. Like, let's go. And if I'm like Iceman in that moment, I'm like, yo, like, whatever Sentinel or whatever's in front of you, like, let's fucking go. Like let's get it. Um, so that would be
God, that'd
like
be
my
so good.
ideal casting if but yeah, I just want to work in the industry. Yeah, that's really what it really boils down to. Like I love being on set. I love having I have the greatest time. I'm like I have an infinite amount of energy when it comes to being in that medium. And I know that there's this, I guess this like things like woo woo thing, like cup of abundance, and like there's things that you can give yourself to until your cup runneth over, or your
Yeah.
cup runneth empty. But I think that is an infinite cup of energy for me, or an infinite cup of abundance, because I know that no matter what, I can give night and day, like 12 hours of like 24 hours of just like constant, like, yo, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, to that medium, and then go home and be like, cool, I had a great day. And
That's
like, aren't
awesome.
you exhausted? Like, no, like not at all. Like it's just so fun to me to play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like I ain't always gonna be a big kid.
And dude, I mean, and that's how can you ask for anything better? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's freaking great. That's So I'm only assuming that you're into comics, or is it just more TV
Yeah.
shows?
I'm definitely a comic head. I grew up reading comics. I don't know if do you guys have Myers there? You know, I was on Myers. I think that's a Midwestern thing.
Yeah, I have no
But my
idea.
mom used to take
Yeah,
me to Myers when I was, or Meyer. Yeah, it was like a big convenience store. Like they had like everything, like 24
yeah,
hours. Um, so she would take me. I would go there, and I would be like, okay, cool. Like, let me go in the comic book section. And I would just like that, and that's what I started getting the comics. And I think the first comics that I read were like Death of Superman and when Batman Nightfall. Those
hmm
were like the first two like arcs that I really got into, and I was like, oh man, they killed Superman. Oh man, they're like killing Batman. Like let me read this. And from there, I got into like X Force, and I definitely got into X-Men, because like the Saturday morning cartoon was like
Oh
the
hell yeah,
jam. And I wanted to like learn more, and I got like all these like I started collecting like Ultra Flare cards, and I really got into Spawn for a bit.
nice.
I think, and then that's what got me reading more about Magneto, and that's where my
Oh
handle came
yeah,
from, Blackneto. And I started to really fall in love with the ideologies and his passion, and the comparison to the Malcolm X thing.
yeah.
Although I know a lot of that can be a little controversial, but I think that him, after him coming out of jail, and like him kind of just like being like, you know what, some of that shit was fucked up, but his passion for the people that he wanted to protect, I think is more of a thing that I gravitate towards over Professor X, and I probably would have been on the Brotherhood as opposed to being on the X-Men,
Yeah, yeah.
the Xavier side. Um, Not to say that I'm like I would be a villain, but like, because I don't consider Magneto a villain. I think he's a very
That's what I've always liked
um,
about Magneto. It's
multi
yeah, so multifaceted.
multi-layered. He's done so many good things, so many questionable things, but like I
Yeah,
think it's better than Xavier being like, I'm just gonna control everyone. Like, you don't know if you're doing good because I'm like manipulating you the whole time. And I think that's more fucked up than like letting in people having their free will and being like, hey, look, these are my ideologies. If you want to follow me, cool. If not, like this is what it is. And so hence why Magneto is my favorite character
that's
of all
awesome.
time. He will always be my favorite character of all time. Gambit is a close second.
Oh, I love
But I've
Gambit. He's
also
great.
really I want to do a Gambit cosplay, and just kind of like shape my hair like Killmonger style, like it was in Black
Oh
Panther,
shit,
and like have like the little visor. Yeah, I
that'd
want
be
to do like the
awesome.
little like thing on the side, and just like, yeah, people were like my buddy was telling me like, dude, that would be fucking lit. Like you would like not I wouldn't even have to shave my hair. I could just like comb this like over to the
Yeah,
side and just have this like a little face thing or whatever. So I
that'd
got
be
that
pretty
I got that
awesome.
emotion. Like I
Do it.
love I love cosplaying. I'm not good at building cosplay, so I need someone to make it for me, but I will pay them to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I only bring up
yeah.
comics. It's I'm not that much of a comic head, but my buddy, he's like super. He's like one of those guys that knows like everything about comics. Like you mentioned a superhero, he'll just like prattle on about everything, and I'm just like, oh, whoa, okay. So he got me into a series recently. I wanted to ask if you heard of it. It's called Noctera.
I haven't heard of it yet.
Okay, so
Is it
it's kind of like a I've only read the first issue so far. It's like a weird. It's not really superhero. It's more like a horror comic.
ooh.
It's about like the Earth's skies go black one day, and it's just about people surviving, and you have to have light. And it's like people like fighting for like electric resources, and there's all these shadow monsters out there that if you go away from the light they're gonna come get you and all that. It's so fucking interesting. I was just curious if you heard of it.
I haven't, but like I'm very intrigued. That
Yeah,
sounds like kind of like a quiet place, kind of deal. I haven't seen the second one yet. I really want to see
I
it.
still need to watch that
But
movie.
me and my
Shit.
girlfriend are huge horror buffs.
Yeah,
It's so good. Like
you might like
I remember seeing it in theaters and like, oh no, I was gonna say it was one of the best like theatrical experiences ever because people didn't even want to open
the
their
candy and all.
popcorn
Yeah, or
or
the
anything,
bar.
like because the movie was like the movie was silent during the whole time. Like if anyone like made a peep, like if anyone like squeaked their chair, you would just like look over and be like, "Shut the fuck up!" And like the
Oh
whole theater
shit.
was in on it, and it was just like it was just such an intense moment. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like no one's breathing right now. The whole movie, it
Oh
was like it
god.
probably had like maybe 15 or 16 lines of dialogue, but you were just like,
Oh
oh,
shit.
the whole fucking time it's so intense. Hopefully, I'm not hyping it up too much for you, but
When
yeah, it was a
I've been
very
meaning to
very good
see it.
movie.
Yeah. No, I've been
Um,
meaning to see it, but no, you might be interested in that comic series, Noctera. Um, it's the only comic book cures that I even really like or read now are just Batman and Ninja Turtles because they're my fucking favorite.
yeah, because Batman and Ninja Turtles, because
Yeah,
like you don't need another reason to like it other than Batman and Ninja Turtles. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Um,
man.
also,
So
also before we go,
yeah, I was just about to wrap things up
favorite
here.
Ninja Turtle,
Favorite Ninja Turtle?
favorite Ninja Turtle.
Fuck. It's really between when I was younger, I'd have to say Leonardo, but now that I'm older, it's probably Raphael.
Interesting. I am a Donatello fan all the way. I would say though, when I was younger, Michelangelo. Like Michelangelo
Yeah.
was probably my favorite, but Donatello, like since like my like yeah, like growing up, like I'm like, yo, Donatello is the best.
And that,
So
for
yeah,
me,
we'd be good turtles.
yeah, it's for me, Raphael. It's just because it's sort of like the thing that I still deal with all the time, like the self doubt, and you like, are you good
Mm,
enough, and all that stuff, and it's and most days it's easy to not feel that way, but there's still those days where you're just like, fuck, what am I really doing, that sort of shit, and I
mm,
relate to
mm,
that, it's
mm, mm.
so. And the plus Batman, it's fucking Batman. Like, how could you not love Batman?
I love Batman, but I love Nightwing because I feel like he has more of a psychological
Oh
like
yeah,
yeah, I'm speaking of like, oh hey, daddy, I got daddy issues. He's just but Batman is that for him. So, it's like wanting to be that, but like not wanting to be that, and like basically becoming who you think you are trying to be like, but
yeah.
like not quite. It's just like some of the writing that I've seen is like, oh man, I love a good Nightwing run. Like he's just,
Oh yeah.
and when he became Batman, it was just like, how does
Oh
he
god, yeah.
handle this cowl? Like how does like I can't like what is going on? And then he sees like what Batman actually has to go through and go, fuck,
Oh,
I
I loved that one.
I've
Yeah, that was a
been
good one.
Man, it's so dope. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, I hate to cut it short, but I
Oh,
do
no,
have
no, no.
to.
That's fine. No, no. I was about to wrap things up anyway. So before we go, give a shout out to like where people can find you and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. You guys can find me at Blackneto underscore on all the social medias, Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, the whole deal. And we're on one half of I Hate Your Deck. We just dropped episode 11
Which
with
was a
Kyle
great
Hill and
one. That was a
Cassius
great
Marsh.
one.
Uh, it's just banter. We're just talking a lot of shit. If you guys like that kind of thing and in your Magic and you don't want to take it too serious, definitely check that out. Also, don't forget to subscribe. We definitely appreciate anything. And if you want to join that Patreon, that's always a blessing for us. It gives us ability to make more content for you guys, and the goal is to go weekly to bring out, I Hate Your Deck Friday so we can make it a real thing. Obviously, we're not there financially yet, but we
Yeah,
are aiming to get to that point. And
you'll
our
get there.
Discord is so wholesome. I know it's like once you join our Discord, it's like we do webcam games. We have Commander Day every Thursday. It's like honestly some of the best people that I've met. Everybody is just super chill. There's a nice community of people there. Yeah, we're just having a good time. So
Awesome.
we're doing deck brewing. We're doing a lot of cool stuff in our Discord, and yeah, we're just having a lot of good time. So I just really just want to thank you for asking me to be on the
Well,
show.
thank you
I
for coming
really
on.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just really think that the whole Magic community has just been so very embracing, and it really like warms my heart. Like I was so very nervous to put myself out there and put out there content that that could be easily have been kept from me,
Oh yeah.
and it's been kind of a constant thing in my life. It's like when I kind of put myself out there, it's like, well, this community doesn't accept me, but then this community doesn't accept me either. It's like, where do I like I want, but I still
Yeah.
like this thing. How do I
That's got
find
to be tough.
balance?
Yeah.
And I know we all go through that. So I really think that the Magic community has been very, very welcoming and embracing, and I just want to turn up and do hood rat shit with my friends. So thank you for
No.
allowing me to do that today.
No, and thank you for coming on and just BS with me. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you have a good Juneteenth. All right.
Yes, yes, we're gonna go get some barbecue
Sounds
and
good.
yeah, take some more tequila shots. So if
Ooh.
you're drinking, turn up.
Not tonight. Not for me. All right. Well, have a good one. All
For
right.
sure, for sure. Thank you.
All right.
Later.
All right. Bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for watching and listening to this episode. Hope you all really enjoyed it. I know I did. Joseph was a really awesome dude to chat with and talk to. It's like, once again, I felt like we could have gone at least another 2 hours, but he had to, go and do some stuff for Juneteenth. I think he was going to a barbecue. And, yeah, so I hope it was some good food there. So hope you all really enjoyed the episode. Thank you all again for listening and watching. I appreciate every single one of you who do. Know that you are awesome out there, and I hope you all have a really good day / night, and wherever you are.